In 2014, Germany were the best team in the world. They beat Brazil 7-1 in their own backyard. They beat Argentina in the final, and they lifted the trophy. And that night in the stands in Rio de Janeiro, everyone was thinking the same thing. This generation will dominate world football for years. This is only the beginning. But that night was also an ending nobody noticed. Because since 2014, Germany have played 3 World Cups. 2018, eliminated in the group stage. 2022, eliminated in the group stage. 2026, eliminated by Paraguay on penalties. 3 World Cups, not a single victory in the knockout rounds. A 4-time world champion nation that has not seen a World Cup round of 16 in 12 years. And this is not just bad luck. This is a collapse. And the story goes much deeper. Let us go to Russia 2018. Germany arrived as the defending champions, the country that had won it all 4 years earlier. And in the first match, they lost 1-0 to Mexico. These things happen, they said. Big teams can lose their first game. Then a difficult victory against Sweden, and in the final group match, they needed to beat South Korea to survive. They lost 2-0 to South Korea, and Germany were eliminated in the group stage for the first time since 1938. Since 1938, 80 years, and everyone was shocked. But the German Football Federation said, this is temporary. This was an accident. Was it they came to Qatar 2022? After 4 years of work, Hansi Flick had built a new system. The players were ready. Germany were ready. And again, in the first match, they lost 2-1 to Japan. Again, they did not give up. They drew 1-1 with Spain. And in the final group game, they beat Costa Rica 4-1. But it was not enough. Japan and Spain were above them. And Germany were eliminated in the group stage for the second consecutive time. This was no longer an accident. This was a pattern. And the German Football Federation finally had to admit it. Flick was dismissed. Julian Nagelsmann was brought in, and everyone said, now things will change. They arrived at 2026, the expanded 48-team format, the knockout stage now much wider. It seemed almost impossible for Germany not to get through the group stage. They beat Curaçao 7-1. They beat Ivory Coast 2-1. They lost 2-1 to Ecuador, but still advanced for the first time since 2014. And in the round of 32, Paraguay were waiting, a team ranked 31 places below them in the FIFA rankings. And Germany lost again. A goal was disallowed. 3 penalties were missed, and Germany went home. 4-time world champions, eliminated by Paraguay on penalties. Germany lost a penalty shootout for the first time in their history. But the real question is this. Why? Why is such a talented country failing this consistently? The answer has several layers. First, the golden generation was never replaced. The generation that played in 2014, Müller, Klose, Lahm, Schweinsteiger retired, and the generation that came after them could never replicate that same unity. Second, a tactical identity crisis. What was Germany for decades? Disciplined, organized, defensive solidity, and counterattack. But after 2014, that identity disappeared. High press, nobody fully knows, and opponents know that. Paraguay knew that. They deliberately defended against Germany's slow sideways passing, and Musiala and Wirtz could never receive the ball on a half-turn. Third, coaching instability. Lowe stayed through 2018 and 2022 but failed. Flick came and failed. Nagelsmann came and failed. Every time a new system, a new vision, but the same result. And here is the most striking part. After the Paraguay match, Nagelsmann made a statement, and he said, we probably need to make big changes. We are no longer among the first-class teams. Think about those words for a second. The coach of Germany, the coach of a 4-time world champion nation, said we are no longer among the first-class teams. This admission shows how deep a crisis German football has entered. Joshua Kimmich said the same thing, independently, on the same night. When 2 different people reach the same conclusion independently, this is no longer the story of one bad performance. This is the much larger story underneath. And here I need to make a very important comparison. Italy, 4-time world champions. Just like Germany, but Italy did not even qualify for the 2018 and 2022 World Cups. They were eliminated in qualifying. For 8 years, they watched the world's biggest tournament from home. And that period shook Italian football to its core. Their entire system was questioned. Their academies were questioned. Their coaching structures were questioned. Germany is not at that point yet. They are still qualifying. They are still going to World Cups. But if they do not make fundamental changes now, they could end up living that same nightmare Italy lived. Are they playing possession football now? But not everything is dark. Jamal Musiala is there. Florian Wirtz is there. Alexander Pavlovich is there. These names are among the most talented young players in the world. The problem is not talent. The problem is that they cannot put these talents in the right framework. The problem is that collectively they cannot elevate individual performance. And if Germany can build this generation correctly, if they can find their tactical identity, if they can achieve coaching stability, we could see a completely different Germany in 2030 or 2034. But to do that, they first need to accept the truth. And perhaps Nagelsmann's words were the beginning of that acceptance. In 2014, Germany were the best team in the world. In 2026, their coach said, "We are no longer among the first-class teams." Between those two sentences, there are 12 years. 12 years of 3 World Cups. Not a single victory in the knockout rounds. And every time, the same questions. Why does such a talented country keep going home this early? The answer is not simple. The golden generation was never replaced. The tactical identity was lost. The coaches failed. But perhaps the biggest problem is this. Germany lived in the shadow of 2014 for too long. Winning that trophy stopped them from seeing that the world was changing. The world changed. Africa got stronger. South America stayed strong. Asia got stronger. And Germany kept trying the same formula. Slow possession, predictable passing, and opponents figured it out. Paraguay figured it out. Japan figured it out. South Korea figured it out. A 4-time world champion nation, eliminated by Paraguay on penalties. When Italy went down this road, they spent 8 years watching the World Cup from home. Is Germany on the same path? We do not know yet. But if fundamental change does not come, the question in 2030 might not be the same. That is all.